estimate the costs of your capital goods. So basically, I know most of the people think when they buy a press that the purchase price is often too high, but in reality, we see that most of the costs will come when the equipment is running. So you have the cost of the running and as well the cost of the not running. So the question is here, how eliminate this cost of not running? What do you think? What is the where are the hugest potentials to optimize your cost structure? And what you see here in this chart, this is newspaper production in Europe. Maybe this is a bit different in other regions of the world, but you see that the paper cost is up to 50% of the cost per copy in a newspaper production. I would assume that even I saw that a lot of people from India are here in this call, that this paper cost is more than 50% of the 100%. So what we would assume is, okay, how to save paper cost and how to save labor cost as well. Energy makes not so much, but as well there are some indirect costs. Okay, second question, what is OEE and how is OEE measured? OEE means overall equipment effectiveness, in Deutsch Gesamtanlageneffektivität. So basically it is built on 3 factors: the availability, the output, and the quality factor. So if you have a print production, the question is, am I printing 100% of the operating time? And can I use the full speed of the press? Can I use 100% of the planned speed of my equipment? And as well, are 100% of my products produced in the same defined quality? I would assume no, 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 no. And we see here huge potentials in each and every print shop. And Maintellisense is a tool to help you optimize that. So I have a question to all of you. There is a survey here on the page, and I would like to you to ask or to answer the question. Yeah, first answers are coming. Do you know the OEE of your equipment? Yes, not, partially. It would be interesting for me. Would be interesting how many and if you know what it is and how it's measured. That would be interesting. Yeah, so basically we divide the printing process in several phases. And one of the major issues or major focus in Maintellisense is how to reduce unplanned downtimes. Even 1 hour of unplanned downtime means a lot of money and a lot of lost money. And here we will show you some features where you can save unplanned downtime. We go through that. So I see the question, the poll is finished. 41% said yes, I know my OEE. 36% mentioned no, and 23% said partially yes. I think it's a good result, but I see that about 50% have no clue about where their OEE of their equipment is. And yeah, Maintellisense is one tool to optimize that. So it makes things visible. And you may know this video here. Yeah, that's a bit of what happens when if we install Maintellisense or if you use Maintellisense, then the potentials of your unplanned downtimes are getting visible. And how that works, I would like to show that. Yeah, so basically, Maintellisense shows you the machine availability. Data is edited and analyzed, or in some cases we saw that data is often edited, analyzed manually, so we could automate that. In some cases we saw that technical staff has not enough time to process the data and to deal systematically with that stuff. And others said that the interpretation of the data is strongly influenced by people as well. Those evaluations are not stored centrally. So there is often no early warning for unplanned downtimes. And this is all solved with our Maintellisense platform, which is just a website. So if you are a customer and if you have Manroland equipment, you can get a user account here. So I'm already logged in, and I'll just show you what this tool does. So what we did is that we dragged a lot of data out of the presses, upload it to the cloud, and do some analytics and display that here on the front end. So basically what we did is here we have anonymous data from two one newspaper press and two commercial presses. With this log assistant, we scan the last 10 weeks of your production and show you which failures occurred in the last 10 weeks. So for example, here, this customer seems to have problems with ink key adjustments. So he saw this started in week 34 with 10 per week, and then the worst time was here 30 per week. Then it improved a bit, but again in week 44 it seems to get worse again. So if you know, okay, I have here a problem, then you can click in and you get directly an evaluation what you should do, and you could directly contact our tele support center to get help. So in our presses we have 20,000 of those different messages, and they all are filtered, prioritized, and described. So you can easily check what is the status in your press, what's happening, are there some errors occurred. For example, in this case here, you see this started in week 40, and then it's getting worse and worse, and you directly then can check what should I do, optimize it, and then see, okay, now it's getting better, like in this case, for example. And we saw several cases in the last weeks with our customers who already signed such an and so no oil into the bearings, which will cause a huge downtime in the next weeks or days. If you don't have enough oil in your bearings, then you will have tremendous problems. We saw that this was increasing. Customer could prevent that, and he saved 2 or 4 or 5 days of unplanned downtime. A tremendous impact, tremendous cashback. So but that's not everything. Another tool, what we use here, we call that My Production, and as well here, I select the same one, or no, I think most of you are newspaper people, so I select the newspaper press, and as well here, what you see here is an idea about some trends in your press. So what is with the make ready time? What is the trend? Okay, it's not too bad here. It's better than the marginal value. And here in this view, you could see an overview about all of your productions. You see, okay, the trend is okay, but sometimes you have some productions which are not okay. As well here, make ready waste. It is the same. It seems to be okay, but some problems or some productions were not as good as it should be. As well here, the running waste, very important. as well here. You see, okay, in the meantime, it's okay, but sometimes you see here that the press has some problems. So in this tool, we see the productions, and with my machine, we can analyze the complete press. So again, I select here, and we have a lot of diagrams. I'm sorry that I can only show 2 here, but in reality, I think we are now up to 20 diagrams which we provide, but we don't have anonymous data at the moment. But I can show you, and this is growing every week. So basic entry would be to check what is the gross and net waste, the gross counter, net counter, and run waste over the last weeks. And here we see that there's really a deviation. There's a variety. Some weeks you are very good. Down here, 1.3%, but then other weeks it's really poor quality. And this 5% run waste, this really costs money. And we will directly display that here where you have waste problems in your process. So, okay, now we see maybe in this week there were some problems. So I would like now to check what happens in detail in this week. So I can take a deeper look and check, okay, I would like the web breaks. Where do I have most of the web breaks? Is it after impression off? Is it after impression on? Is it after the splice? And here's it in total. And here you get it, with one click, you get a feeling that in this period, it seems that this press has tremendous problems, up to 12 times a week, problems with a web break after the splice. So there should be a problem with your resplicer. Better take a look, because let's do a calculation. Let's say here 10 times a week, the same problem with a resplicer. Let's assume that you have an hourly rate of your press of 1,000 euros. This means that this is 10,000 euros. Assume that a web break needs 1 hour, so that's 10,000 euros lost. But I think these the staff here did a good job, and they fixed these problems with the resplicer. But then in week 40, the next problem started with a web break after impression on, and again here 6 times a week, 6,000 euros. And I mean, you see, if you summarize that over a year, that's easily 100,000 euros you could save if you use that as a statistic tool, because we need that, or we use that statistics to dive now step by step deeper in. I mentioned that I don't have anonymous data here, but I saw you show you here on the screen that there's a lot of diagrams. For example, very important, what we see here, the folder jam and the web breaks top 10. Do you know where the most of your web breaks are happening? I have a screenshot here from a customer where I eliminated the name, and I saw that he has 15 folder jams a week on the former unit below the crossfold, 15 times the same position. If you even eliminate this problem here, then you will have a better OEE, better lower TCOs. That's really, really a powerful tool to optimize those costs. Yeah, how do we do that? How do we gather that information out of your press? Yeah, basically, it's that we collect the data from your press, store it in the cloud. We can as well do it on premise locally, but we prefer cloud. Then we do the analytics, and then we display that on the front end. Easy is that. And one other winning move in that project is that it's not just a software project or a development project. It is a complex team where a process specialist works together with a data scientist and the programming tool, programmer team, and they together build this Maintellisense solution. Very interesting. Yeah, I think there are thousands of things we can drag out of this data. One thing is what we did internally is we wanted to check which country is the most uses the Manroland equipment the most, and where do we have the most printed copies in the world, and what do you think even the impressive numbers, how many copies will be printed in 1 year on Manroland equipment? And that's tremendous. Well, that's really crazy. So in summary, 174 Milliarden, in English it's 174 trillions, is that right, of copies around the world. And you see, of course, Germany is strong, but as well, this was a surprise for us, Canada is number 2, Great Britain, Poland, US, Austria, Belgium, and then India. India should be more, I guess. A lot of Indian folks are here, so I think there is a potential for your country to use Manroland equipment more extensively. Yeah, so that's basically what we do. What are the next steps? I mean, we are just at the peak of the ice mountain. We just started the project 2 years ago, and we see a lot of things to do. So we are walking every day with our data analyst and the process specialist on the cause effect correlation for improved fault indication before unplanned downtime. So every month we will release new analytics, new diagrams. Very soon for customers, they say, I want to use this website. Dear Manroland goes, could you please call me if you see some impact or some tremendous things in my production? We can do that with my experts, and staff from Manroland will use the tool and help you. As well, if you are a Manugraph user, a KBA user, the Gauss Legacy Universum, or a Komori user, we are working on integration of third-party equipment and presses. And one of the next steps will be to have a real predictive maintenance where we interpret more data, like drive data, or even inline control data. Let's assume from a register system. A register system delivers so much data, but we only look at the moment on how we can use that to control the process. But we don't use that in a way of what was necessary to make the press printing in the right way. Like if you are driving a car and your steering wheel, you have to move your steering wheel a bit on the left in order to drive straight, and there must be something wrong, and we can see that in the data of the inline control system. And as well, one of the next steps is to have a maintenance planning in combination with predictive maintenance, and the stock keeping should also be integrated in the near future. So we will provide a lot of deep data analytics, trend lines, outliers, anomaly, pattern recognition later on, artificial intelligence, peer group comparison, all that will come into Maintellisense, and we will release a version every month with new features and new functions. So what are your benefits? It is a fast entry into IoT world, big data, cloud, analytics without a risk. You can try that. It's secure, it's scalable, it's connected. You get alarm mechanisms, key figures, dashboards, and all they help to increase your OEE and to reduce your TCO. This is where Maintellisense is designed for, and it helps like the little baby at the beginning. It helps to get a better understanding of your equipment. And yes, of course, we have 20 years of experience in data analysis. That's Maintellisense. So the question is now, if you like to have a view on how Maintellisense could look like with your equipment, then if you have a Manroland press, the chance is very high that we already have your data and can show you what's happening in your equipment and where the most benefits and savings are. If you don't have, just call us. We will check if we can integrate that. And just write a mail at info@maintellisense.com, and you will get then a private session based on your machine data. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show. So, Alex, are there some questions in the chat?
Yes, absolutely, Manuel. One interesting question is, does big data take condition monitoring to press into consideration to divert smart data for maintenance? I think this was your explanation of the next steps for Maintellisense, what we are trying to do and will do. Perhaps you can also say something about this, what we are going to do with the predictive maintenance system. And another question was also, that is very interesting, because if we do, furthermore, is the data also used to have a kind of assessment of the different teams at the press to see who has the highest potential? Yeah, it's very difficult with the law in the country.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in Germany, that's not possible in an easy way. But yeah, in other countries, this could be possible. And I mean, if you have a shift system, you can see these numbers shift-wise. If you know when the people are working, so indirectly, yes.
So yes, absolutely. I write now the answer, but there are also a question about the artificial intelligence. Let me see what type of artificial intelligence tools we can see in the near future. I think it was also a side of your presentation.
Yeah, I mean, we started 3 years ago with the idea to have artificial intelligence analyzing the presses, but we ended up with that the presses are too complex for neural networks and AI tools, but we are working on that. For example, we think that, or one thing that we are trying is to have web tension time series or web tension curves, and the AI algorithm should learn how the web tension could be normal, or what is normal in this press, to detect then if there is a deviation.
Perfect. There are a lot of questions. Perhaps you can also answer one. Using the big data will improve the life of press. Oh, that's very easy, I think.
Yes, I guess that is what we've shown with all this information and data. We will definitely. I think the main reason why people buy this tool is because they see a direct impact on how to reduce unplanned downtimes. That's I get in every case the main reason here.
I'm afraid we don't have too much time left, but I will suggest that we can take all the questions that have come in, and you can answer them, and we will send out to the attendees to this seminar, to this session. So all the attendees to the session get answers to these questions, so they will not fall short. Does that sound like a good plan?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. And I also would add our email here in the chat. Send to all participants info@maintellisense.com. So if you have questions, if you want to discuss it, if you need more information, if you want to book a private session, just write to info@maintellisense.com, and then we will serve you.
Sounds good. I want to thank you both for a very insightful presentation, and it's obvious that you're doing very exciting things, and we look forward to see what how this will develop in the future. For the rest of the day of sessions, we have one now at 2:30 about UPM's perspective of climate change. At 3 o'clock, we have executive panel, where 4 executives are going to talk about the effects of government sponsorship in media. And at 4 o'clock, there is distribution matters. So that's the end of the day for us. So I just want to thank you all for a good meeting today, and thank you, Manuel, and thank you, Alexander, and see you all later.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye.